Good afternoon, happy Easter. I'm back on the wheel and it's kind of Easter time. Got to go get some eggs. Do that later. I've got some places to go, so I'm just rolling as fast as I can. Not as fast as I can, but I'm on the move. When you've got a wheel that does this, why not get where you need to go? But where are we today? We're probably 800 kilometre check-in. Yeah, so I've got to go into the big city with the big wheel. And I guess, does size matter? It's an argument I've heard often in the wheel scene. And yeah, does size matter? Of course it does. It always does. How many inches have you got between your legs? And does that make a difference on how your performance, in a big city environment? There's so many people around. I think hefting a big weight between your legs is tough. Some of you might be used to that, but I'm definitely not. So I'm going to do a little bit of slow commuting. Where I'm going today is right into the centre of Brisbane City, a place called Fortitude Valley. Sometimes I guess when you've got a new wheel or any wheel, it can be a little bit intimidating when you're going into unknown conditions in busy locations, and you've still probably got quirks. I know there's quite a few people that are finding mounting, it is challenging. I have moments if you haven't got your feet used to where the pedals and the pads are, and then that weight catches you, plus you've got some uneven ground, and there's a lot of things. So you've got to be on your ball. You've got to set your speed lock if you've got those laws in place. So watching your speeds, watching out for kids at school holidays. Heaps of little kids and they're unpredictable. You don't want a 50 kilo wheel going even 25 kilometers into a little one. It's going to be not pretty. But beautiful weather, beautiful wheel. I'm rolling. Let's go. So just getting into the city now. There's heaps of people everywhere, all over the bike paths. Everybody just walking willy-nilly. Little kids. Nice day though. We're just coming over the bridge. Some bridge. There's heaps of bridges, which is good. They give us lots of ways to roll across the river. Don't want to swim. Not unless you got the Gday A2, is it? They've got some new Gday's got waterproof wheels, but this V13, it's a really stable wheel. I've started to get used to the weight now, and you can use that stability to help you out when you're in these busy areas. So I might just take a seat. I find that this is a really good wheel for commuting because I can sit really comfortably and it's really stable. So it got me into the city at a good speed. You've got that option, and then it is usable in this in this environment. You just need to get used to that weight, I think, first. You've got the trolley handle. If you're not quite used to that weight, don't be afraid to pick it up and wheel things around a little bit. But when you get a little bit tired, it's a bit hot, you just take a seat, relax, enjoy the river. How's the serenity? But yeah, still, I'm seeing people still get their V13s and still be just as stoked. I haven't seen any, many major troubles, which is really good, I think, for such an early edition of a wheel. Quite often you see a whole bunch of things that go wrong. Hey, thanks for coming to the channel. Thanks for helping it grow. Every day I log in, there's new subscribers, and I guess it's making me get out and work hard for this. And I hope you're getting something out of the content, even if it's just seeing how the wheel's rolling, if you're considering buying one or any wheel. But if you go back through my videos, you'll see me do this exact trip quite often on my V11. I did a lot of city commuting, and it's the same kind of trip, the same kind of distance. And I guess so far I could say that there's no issues with this wheel. I do feel it a lot more on the legs. It is a bit more work, but same kind of thing, I guess. I've still got 85% battery, and that's after rolling good 20 kilometres now. So yeah, that's one thing that's definitely making a difference, is that battery, and the comfort is heaps more on this wheel. Just having, as I said, having the ability to sit down just takes the fatigue off the legs for 5 minutes, and it makes quite a difference. It's really windy today, so I've got that to deal with. It's really hot. So I am noticing a bit of gyro effect today. I guess the wind is really doing it, and when it's blowing into my body, I start to notice things just feel like it's starting to lock into a certain direction, and it feels like a bit more of a fight to break that. That's what you need to do, is just be aware of that happening, and then back off accordingly. You don't want to get locked in like I did a few videos back to that tracking where you just can't get off it. Yeah, so the little changes that I've made to the wheel, one of the best things that I've done is inside your INMOTION box there should be a bunch of tools, and inside the packet you'll find these two little black squares of metal, and they've got 4 screws in there with a bit of blue Loctite, and you might be wondering where they go. I was out doing some speed runs last night. I noticed that my feet just didn't feel quite right and were trying to push out and maybe slide off the pedals at some points. And then I remembered that they did have that little shim, or it's just a way to angle the pedals more tightly towards the wheel, and that's what those 2 squares are for. If you put them just in underneath the foot plate, there's 2 little screws, there's a countersunk hole that those screw heads will sit in, so everything still lines up. It's been beautifully made, and you pop those little squares just in under the pedal so it doesn't quite close as far. You'll know what I mean when you stand on it. It's really pushing my legs towards the wheel, knees pressed tighter against the top of the wheel, and I feel more secure, locked in, which I'm finding that locked in feeling on this wheel is what's really helping me control it. Be able to really get those precision movements matter, I think, But other than that, I've also adjusted the assists again. I've got my acceleration assist up to 90% and braking on 100 again, so that's helping me a lot. And then I've tilted the wheel forward 1 degree instead of backwards or 0. I just wanted to see what it felt like, and it feels good. It helps you get into that position to accelerate. Yeah, so I think all the changes that I've made to my wheel, they just feel fantastic at the moment. I feel locked in, but I can still get my feet in and out of the pads easily. I start to learn the muscle memory, and it just becomes habit where you put your feet. So mounting becomes easier and easier the more you do it, and the more you stay with the same setup as well. I was talking to someone in the comments, they've just got a V13, and the mounting can be a bit of a struggle, and even I sometimes have that anxiety if I'm pulling up at a set of lights or somewhere busy. But you just really need to get that strength on the outer leg and press against the wheel, hold it long enough to be able to get that other foot into the right spot. And don't be afraid to use a wall or a pole. Look for those vantage points. If you're pulling up, I now sort of look ahead where I can see a pole, and I just lean against that. You don't always have to go straight to the edge of the footpath. You can stand back from the lights and just give yourself a bit of running space, and that might be an easier option. But the more that you mount it, the more it does get easier. And things like the one-footed practice that I'm always doing, that's to strengthen that leg so I can hold it by itself, you know, by one foot. And if I need to, then I can just quickly mount up. You know, sometimes you don't get that other foot in place straight away. So being able to just roll for a little bit on one foot isn't a bad skill to develop. But just give yourself some space and do that somewhere where you've got room and there's no people. Like today seems to be an extreme cycle day again. So I'm just going to watch my speeds and try to keep to myself and keep away from all the bikers. But they come flying from behind you too. They actually, in our state, they have a faster limit than me. So, and I saw somebody else in another forum that just got collected because they were following a cyclist. And then the cyclist all of a sudden decided to just turn. You know, the EUC rider was trying to overtake, and perhaps they didn't hear the warning or a warning wasn't given, and at that same time the cyclist decided to just do a turn without signalling or doing a shoulder check, and they both collided. And I think things went okay, but it was a bit of a message in a forum group that people got into the comments. I think it's important, if you're rolling, to always do a shoulder check if you're going to turn or stop, or even just at regular intervals to keep an eye on what's behind you, and so you know your surroundings. I mean, just learn those shoulder checks. You know, I quite often just sit behind cyclists and back off until I see what they're doing, or I've got a whole heap of room to open up and get past them. And otherwise you do have horns built into the wheels, and you know, you can sometimes operate them with your watch. Yeah, via the app or via the wheel, I guess. And then you do also have those options of popping on a warning bell or, you know, a horn. So everyone's got their own devices. You can use mirrors to keep an eye behind you as well. Nice day on the river. Just twiddling my thumbs. I'm just putting some kilometres down. Just wanted to feel this setup. And it doesn't take me long to get to the city now. Like it's quite a, you know, a journey really, but it used to feel like it took a lot longer in the car or on the motorbike. And this is just a joy the whole way. Good on me, good on INMOTION, and good on you all, good on the Easter Bunny. But do you see how windy it is? Or hear? Maybe you don't see, but you might hear it. It's really windy. This whole journey on the way in. Lately here we've just had some extreme wind. Sometimes it just turns it on and yep, she's been gusty, blowing a gale. And all of that combined makes for havoc on your wheel. That wind drag. Now, I crashed a while back, and you know, there were people in the comments that were suggesting some great things like twisting your arms, your body, you know, not holding things out and keeping your limbs tight. All of that is massive when it's windy. Everything is like times by 10. And I was just on the way in. I had a time lapse going, so I'm not sure if it'll show it. But I was twisting my shoulders, and that was sort of angling the wind in an extreme way, and I could really feel that difference. It would feel like it was pulling, and then if I just angled my shoulders slightly, it would pull the other way. It was a beautiful mechanism to just slightly adjust things. So at speeds and on a bigger wheel, and when it's windy, you know, perhaps that shoulder technique is something that you can try. And whether it's a factor of you twisting your body and just changing your pressure points, I sort of felt it was more like your body was being a sail, and that was great. So that's a new mechanic for me to explore, and a bit of a new, I didn't seem to find that on the V11, so. Yeah, nice. Here we are on the river. There's people everywhere. So I might just turn the cameras off, concentrate. Thanks for coming along on another journey with the wheel. What a great thing. What a great wheel. What a great start to, you know, my riding season on a new wheel, and it's all going really well. Hope yours is going well. Yeah, I'll keep you updated. I'll probably do a 1,000 kilometre review where I actually just check it all out and make sure all the bolts and knickknacks are up and running well. But beautiful day. again here on Brisbane River, and yeah, this is another successful trip on the INMOTION V13. So for my legs, they're okay actually. After that commute, so far we've done quite a bit of commuting in the city there today on a lot of paths that I wasn't really familiar with. So I guess that's always testing you a little bit, just to you need to keep an eye on what the terrain is, and there was a few little sketchy bumps and just things that probably would catch you out if a non-suspension wheel. But this suspension eats up everything, and it takes a few drops and a few stairs and a bit of fun. So absolutely no complaints from me on this wheel at this point. Thanks INMOTION again for producing such a good first model. For me, it's really living up to the hype. Okay, I'll see you next time for another video. I'm gonna get my boots on and get out of here. I'm gonna roll home pretty quick, try to beat this weather, and looking forward to a coffee. So I'll see you next time for another video. This is Forward and Back from Australia. See ya mate.
Forward and then back. Forward and back.